we had to start with the class struggle that occurred in Europe in the 12th and 13th centuries, spilled over outside of Europe in the form of exploration efforts, where Spain and Portugal were the European powers at that time that dominated the seas, and they sent explorers out such as Christopher Columbus and others, Vasco da Gama, to explore the world, to attain resources to bring back to the motherland, which is Europe. So that's how Christopher Columbus wound up coming to these shores and annihilating, waging genocide against the native people. And of course the Pope was co-signing everything because they issued what was called papal bulls. In 1313, the Pope issued a papal bull where they said that Spain could colonize everything west of the Atlantic and Portugal could colonize everything east of the Atlantic. And that's why the Portuguese wind up coming to Africa first, going to the Cape of Good Hope and establishing that exception. And Spain, of course, came with Columbus to the so-called Western Hemisphere. Now, when we fast forward to the colonization of Africa, from that time period, the 1300s up into 14-something, the colonization of Africa began to be started with the enslavement of Africans, and they were taken to the so-called Caribbean first, right? And that's how Haiti got established, and other nations got established that were nothing but slave colonies where they produced plantation crops such as sugar. Sugar was king before cotton was king. And then in Africa, as time, we fast forward again to the 1800s, the Europeans got tired of fighting each other over colonies because, like in Haiti, the French, the Spanish, and the British fought over the colony called Hispaniola. And the Spanish wound up having the eastern part of the colony, and the French wound up getting the western part, which became Haiti. Of course, that was in what, the 1400s. And in the 1800s, after all that fighting for 400 years over colonies around the world, they decided to have a conference in Berlin, Germany, because the Germans became a world power. And the king of Bismarck, he was the one who led this conference in 1884, where he called all the European powers together to meet and divide up all the colonies peacefully and don't fight anymore. And part of that was the Belgian effort to create the so-called Congo Free State in 1884. Actually, it started in 1888, and that's how the Berlin Conference came into being. So it was produced by the Scramble for Africa, which produced the Berlin Conference, which led to World War I, which led to World War II, and then eventually the League of Nations and the United Nations. So now today the United Nations is just a forum to keep European colonial imperialist powers in power in the world. And that's why they do nothing about what happens in Palestine, nothing about what happens in Africa, in the Congo, where 6 million people have died over the last 8 or 9 years. And what happens in Haiti. The United Nations is just a puppet organization of the U.S. and the Western imperialists. Thank you very much.